Okay, we are recording. Oh, it looks like Ray's here. Cool. I feel like Mr. Rogers suddenly, and Amanda. That's a great picture behind you. I've thought of, I'm gonna eventually, I have a bunch of toothpicks.
Oh, okay.
And I'm gonna actually have the plans for the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I saw it and I liked it, and I've had it for a long time.
Nice.
Home goods.
Oh, okay. Home goods. I don't think we have that up here yet.
Yeah, I've moved it all over the place. It's been in my room, it's been out here, it's been everywhere.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Paula.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. So I've got 8 questions, and I think if they don't fill up the whole hour, we'll go ahead and open it to just audience questions. Is that okay with you, Tina?
Sure.
Okay. Or just general discussion. I'm sure it'll spark people wanting to talk. I think it should do the whole hour, but yeah. We've got a couple more minutes here.
Hey. Now, where do you live again? I think Jim told me about it.
Oh, I'm up in Eureka.
Eureka. Okay, that's what he told me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one besides you guys, besides Jim, that's on the West Coast.
Ah, got it. Yeah.
Most of other people are at least Ohio and East.
Central time zone here.
Oh, okay. Hi, Darren. Hi, Greg.
Hi.
I'm the Ohioan.
Yeah.
So, don't you guys have in Ohio have something that you shout that you can say to anybody in the world and you get somebody to respond?
OH.
Yeah, right?
Yes, I was raised by a Buckeye.
Nice.
Somewhere on Zoom is a rotate, so I can do I'm on landscape now. I was trying to find the profile one. I don't want my whole living room showing.
Oh, got it.
Like Darren has that too. Yeah, the portrait one. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Okay, just another minute. Give people who might want to join time. Is Buckeyes a college series?
Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
Or the University of Ohio. I'm not sure.
Ohio State, they were ranked 3rd yesterday. They lost to number 12, Oregon.
Oregon's 12, huh? They're that low right now.
So they're going to move up this week.
Okay, it is noon. Thanks everybody for joining us today. Tina Serrano is our guest interviewee. I've got a few questions for her. And then if we have time afterwards, we're going to open up the meeting chat for other questions or just a little bit discussion. So thank you, Tina, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So could you go ahead and give us a little bit of background about yourself, where you grew up and how you met Jim, please?
Well, let's see. I was born and raised in Gilroy, where I live now. I went to school here. We went to school together in high school, but we did not know each other. We had some friends in common, but we still didn't know each other. About 2 years after high school, we were set up on a blind date by my cousin and his best friend. And then it's history from there. We didn't go out a lot right away. We just kind of off and on. And then as time went on, we got more and more serious. But it was a blind date. Had to look in the yearbook to see what he looked.
Not entirely blind. So Jim's told us that he told you pretty soon after you started dating that he was adopted. What was your first reaction when he told you that?
Well, when he was leading up to it, I could tell that he was nervous and he wanted to tell me something. And he was like, I'm going to tell you something. I said, okay, and so he told me and I was like, okay. And so it wasn't anything that sparked something in me like, oh gosh, it was okay. All right. And I think from what he tells me, he says that's when he fell in love with me because I didn't judge because he was adopted. And me not knowing what he felt like, for him, that was, okay, so she's not going to leave me because I'm adopted. It didn't matter to me.
Yeah. Have you seen over the years attachment issues in Jim's relationship? And if so, how do these manifest?
Attachment relationships to
yourself, other people in his life, his friends, coworkers.
I'm trying to think if there's something that stands out to me. I don't think he had any attachment issues. Like, I don't know. I think you have to explain more attachment issues. Like, for instance,
a lot of adoptees are people pleasers. They will say yes when they don't necessarily want to say yes.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, he can be a people pleaser for sure. Because sometimes I'll tell him, if they don't care, then don't worry about it. Who cares? They don't like you. Oh, well, And no, that definitely is a people pleaser. Yeah.
Do you see any other ways that type of behavior interferes with his well-being?
I would say only maybe mentally, maybe for him, because he's always trying to please people. So that does make it hard when you're trying to please people all the time. And then you don't get the result that you're looking for when you're trying to please that person. And then they don't respond to that, action that you're doing. So I could see where that would mentally wreak havoc on him for sure.
So right after Jim met his biological family, he had a heart attack. Do you attribute any of that to his search and reunion? Was there more stress in all of that?
So just to correct you, it wasn't a heart attack.
Oh.
He actually had an anxiety attack.
Oh.
But they thought it was a heart attack. They didn't know that, we called an ambulance. They came and got him. They did several tests, within a couple of days. And, they came to find out it was an anxiety attack. And that anxiety attack came from having a birthday party with both his biological parents there and his adoptive parents. And it was very stressful on him. And the meeting not going well.
Did you notice any more anxiety as his reunion progressed?
I think I think in the beginning, it was good because of finding them and seeing who your family was and all those mysteries that you had in your life all those years. As time went on, it got more and more stressful. I think I'll have to say his biological mom wanted a lot from him, and that made him feel stressed from everything that she wanted from him. Yeah, I think that as time went on, it had its ups and downs. So sometimes there would be a period where it would be good, and then there would be times where it wasn't good and he wasn't treated well. I feel like she should have bent over backwards to make him feel extra special, and that's not something she did.
So
And that's been on and off for 20 years, on and off like that, on and off, on and off. It was good, then not good, good and not good. And that's definitely not good on your psyche for sure.
what can you, for other adoptees going through this and their spouses along with them, what type of advice would you give to other spouses, boyfriends, whatever, people that are helping adoptees through reunion to help them deal with that type of situation?
But I love Jim unconditionally. It comes with good times and it comes with bad times. And if you love that person, you're going to be there for them. You're going to support them. You're going to love them through the hard times and the good times. That's how that marriage works, or relationships work. And I've never felt like it was a burden ever. I never felt like, oh my gosh, never. I loved him and I was going to help him. I was going to help him through this and be there with him and try to understand going through.
Well, naturally, you took care about that.
I lost you. I don't see you.
Oh, did I disappear?
Yes. Oh, there you are.
Huh.
There you are.
Am I back now?
You're back.
Okay. I had to mute somebody there for a second. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So then, that one. Do you see Jim, does he interact with his parents differently than someone who's non-adapt? Both sides. We mentioned the people pleasing. Do you see any other types of behaviors from Jim that you don't see in somebody that was raised by their biological parents, be it the way he interacts with his adoptive parents or the way he interacts with his biological parents?
They say that. Can you repeat that again?
So observing Jim's relationships as a child to a parent, do you see differences in the way he interacts as opposed to just other people in your life and the way that they interact with their parents? So does he treat his adoptive parents differently than somebody that, a friend of yours treats their biological parents? And does he treat his biological parents differently than somebody that was raised by their biological parents?
Definitely, it's a different. Your biological parents. It's like they're strangers. So you never really have that bond with them, or he never really had that bond with them. Even after so many years, it's a different from when his adoptive parents were with us. I mean, it was so different. Gosh, I'm trying to think the differences in how he reacted. I mean, even to this day, we'll drive by his mom and dad's house and say, I wonder what, I wish I could stop by and say hi to them. And with his biological mom, he doesn't really go over and visit. So you can see that there's a difference there. And that may be because of all the hurts he's gotten from her on and off throughout these years. I would think it would have been different if she had done it differently. I think he definitely would have gone and seen her more and visited more and maybe gotten closer to her more. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Was his relationship with his adoptive parents different than to you observing as on the side, different than say someone else in your life was treated? The back and forth, how was it different, or if it was, how was it different from just a regular biological relationship?
How was it different from, so how were the relationships different? Is that what you're asking me? Well, I mean, his adopted parents were his parents. They raised him. They did all those things for him that a parent would do. So of course he was closer to them. Was the relationship, a perfect relationship? Well, no, not necessarily, no. But with his biological parents, he had a little relationship with his dad, but his dad never had any kids. So it was kind of hard for him to understand how to be a parent. But he was always very nice with Jim, and they saw each other off and on, and had dinner together. I think he spent more time with his biological mom in the beginning than he did his biological father. I don't know. Is there any more that I could add to that?
No, I think that makes sense. That's good. So we already touched on that. So after reunion, have you noticed that Jim has any different frame of mind? Does he do his relationships seem more secure? Have you seen any amount of change outside of his relationship with his biological parents? Just in general, does he seem more secure, less secure as a person? How have you seen, what kind of changes have you seen in him?
I don't think that it has secure. No, I don't think there's anything was secure, but I think emotionally that has been hard on him. Emotionally has been hard on him. The ups and downs of the relationship. I think that is a big factor here. Big factor. The ups and downs of the relationship. I think if like I said, we'll go back to that again. If she had not done this back and forth with his emotions, I think their relationship would be a lot better. But because so many times that's been done, he's pretty much, done with it. He doesn't want to be on that roller coaster anymore. The ups and downs of those feelings of her being in contact and then just no contact at all.
That makes a lot of sense. That seems like a hard relationship to deal with. So in being married to an adoptee, what are some of the most challenging aspects you found in your relationship with Jim?
I would say it was when he was drinking. that was the hardest part of our relationship, was that when he would drink and drink too much. And the reasoning for drinking too much was to hide to mask all the pain, and, so that you wouldn't have to feel for a while. I think that was our hardest part of our relationship, but, he stopped drinking, and that made our relationship better. Even though our relationship was already strong, just that drinking part was the hard part of our marriage. I mean, I want to say him being adopted for me wasn't something that I thought about all the time, or thought, oh gosh, that because he's adopted, that's never came to my mind. It just, like I told Jim, it's just, for me, it's just simple. I loved him unconditionally, and that was it. There was no in between for me. I just loved him unconditionally. I loved him for the man he is. And that was it. For me, it was just simple. That's what I told Jim. Gosh, I don't know if I have anything crazy to say, because for me, it's just simple.
What about the most rewarding? What type of rewarding experiences have you had with Jim?
Wow. He loves with his whole heart, for sure. Always makes me feel secure. He's never not made me feel not secure in our relationship. Even when he was going through his hard times and everything, I never felt like, oh gosh, he's gonna break down and that's it. He's very strong. He's a very strong man, because he's been through a lot in his life. And for going through all those things in his life, he's a happy guy. He really is a happy guy. You don't ever see him in a bad mood. Maybe once in a while, I'll be like, what? I don't even recognize it sometimes. Huh? He's always happy. So he's a great dad. I think that was something that he, when our daughter was born, always looked at, oh wow, this is somebody that has my blood. This is before he even went and looked for anyone. This is another person that has my blood, that looks like me. And so he's a great dad. Great dad.
Yeah, a lot of adoptees go through that, wanting to have someone to look like that.
Mm-hmm.
The genetic mirroring is important.
Yes.
So we have blown through my questions. I'll try to stretch that out as much as possible. So I think we're going to go ahead and open up to people who might have questions for you, Tina.
Okay.
So anyone who wants to unmute, please feel free. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Tina. I apologize. I didn't get a chance to get busy enough or unbusy enough to do this. But I do have one quick question for you.
Okay.
What do you think has changed in you after him going through reunion?
Changed in me. Wow. Changed in me. Wow, that's a good question. I've never
I know
thought.
it's a tough one, but
Yeah,
sometimes we don't even think about it. I didn't even think about it when I went through reunion.
What changed in me? Gosh, I couldn't think of anything. Probably when I get off of here, then I'll think, oh, well, that maybe. Do you mind if I have Jim chime in for a minute?
Oh no, absolutely.
Do you think I've changed? Sometimes did you have to ask someone, you know what I mean? Somebody that's with you all the time.
Right.
And you've learned how to grieve with you.
Okay.
You've learned how to grieve. And that, yeah, you've learned how to take the ups and downs with me. You've been in that road of an adoptee.
Yeah.
So you know the feeling that I feel because you've been there through the whole
Yeah.
journey.
we went-
So she's got a taste of what it feels like to be with an adoptee. I think you got a taste of what an adoptee feels like. Of course, you're never gonna feel exactly.
And I've always tried to tell him that. I don't want to ever tell him, oh, I know what you feel like, because I don't.
Right. Good
Not-
answer.
Not even a little clue. The only thing I can do is just be there with him and grieve with him when he's having a hard time and hold him. And maybe, I don't know, I can't think of anything. Maybe more patience, maybe.
Ooh,
Maybe
good
getting-
answer.
have the patience, and I've grown to have more patience. I could maybe say that, but I can't pinpoint anything that would stand out.
Great answer. But guess what? It changes over time, just like the journey.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you think Jim has changed expeditiously and still sees his past?
Okay, so do you think he still sees his past? Like,
Yes.
yeah, I think he reads all the time. I think that every time his biological mom hurts him, he feels it all over again. The abandonment all over again, every single time.
Gotcha.
Every single time. And so he relives it over and over again because of that. Maybe that wouldn't be an issue, as much of an issue, if that did not happen. Maybe.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, maybe those wounds wouldn't be so fresh. But every time, like we were talking, every time she does something like that, she just rips that scab off as it's growing, and the scab is there, and then she just picks at it, and then pretty soon it's just ripped off, and then it bleeds all over again. Kind of
That's
use
a
that.
great, that's a great analogy too.
We did the other day, we were kind of talking, and we kind of put that analogy together. It's kind of like ripping that scab off and it bleeding all over again every single time.
Now, do you think, Jim, this goes for you too. Do you think there's something that you could do to stitch the wound so that it didn't have to bleed and healed?
It's
I'll go ahead.
called boundaries, Mark. I guess most of it is boundaries. And sometimes you really have to say, Jim, you need to cut people out of your life that hand you those scissors.
Gotcha.
And it's for your own mental health. And it's time to heal, because we never know how much time we have on this earth. And
Right.
I don't want to leave this earth with that scab still bleeding. You know what I mean? I want to heal.
Absolutely.
I want to heal, and whatever I need to do to heal. And if it doesn't make someone feel bad, it's okay. It's time for me, myself, and my wife and my daughter to heal too, because they've been through this journey with me. And if I don't heal, how are they going to heal if they still see me hurting? And when I have to see my family see me so upset, and I have to do what I need to do for myself now.
Awesome. That's an awesome answer. And I want to thank both of you for being open and honest. It's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, you're welcome.
Nothing but respect. Nothing but respect. I hear you in the background there, Jim. Nothing but love. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Darren asked in the chat, do you know if Jim's mom has gone to therapy for her issues around relinquishment?
From what we know, no. No, no, I don't think so. Because I'm sure she has her own issues, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, and I'm just saying, I think that she has those issues, doesn't know how to deal with them, and then she maybe takes them out on him.
Yeah, that can happen a lot with trauma.
Yeah, she doesn't know what to do with it, so that's what she does with it, and then she dumps it on him,
Mhm.
and she doesn't know what to do with that.
Yep.
With-
What do you think personally? I know we've heard Jim's opinion on it about her doing foster care after she relinquished him.
What do I think about her doing that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion about it. I guess I mean, that was just something she did. Whether she did it because she put Jim up for adoption, that's what we were thinking. That's why she did that. But I'm not 100% sure. I really don't. I don't have an opinion really on it. Sorry.
Okay, you don't have to.
I
Go
don't
ahead,
know.
Mark.
Okay, I have one very easy question.
Okay.
After reunion, this goes for Jim too. Did either of you have the thought that after this entire ordeal, you were going to go to Disneyland?
For sure.
Because that would have been my first thought in California. I ended up going to Legoland though, not the same.
For at least a week. That's funny. Our happy place.
Absolutely. At least with the fireworks every weekend.
Our happy place.
Are there any other questions for Tina?
Comment for Tina. So you mentioned that the support you've been able to provide for Jim, I would like to express how fundamentally that important that is for someone who must be married to an adopted person, just to know that that support exists. Because I know it's not universal, and I really applaud you for doing that.
Oh, thank you. I mean, like I said, I'll go back to me, it's just, I love him. And I'm
Right.
going to, and that's the bottom line.
It's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And Deborah seconds that, and I third that. That is very important when going through reunion. So
I'm sure that people that don't have that support in a marriage, it has to make it double hard, because you're trying to deal with that, and then a spouse that's not supporting you and helping you through it. That has to be really hard.
Are there any other questions? Mark, go ahead.
Okay, I have one quick question. If you could look back now at your entire reunion process that Jim went through, would there be anything that you would change, either with you or with Jim? Any specific things stick out? I know it's a tough question. Something you'd change or do differently.
When you think of something,
Maybe something that we wish.
no, you didn't say it, something would have changed. Yeah, something would have changed when we had the reunion. What would you have changed?
Try to convince my adopted parents to accept what I was doing.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Not feel so uncomfortable with me searching, because they didn't want to hear nothing about my search. They didn't want to know who the person was. They just didn't want me to do it.
That made it hard for him too, is his adopted parents did not want him to do this. So that was a lot of pressure on him too, because they weren't behind him. And I feel if you're going to adopt someone, you're going to have that you're going to have to say, okay, let's do it. You want to do it? Let's go. Because then it made it a lot harder on him because they wouldn't go along with it and help him along. So that would have been, if that could have gone smoother, that would have been better for sure. That would have
Right.
made less stress on Jim.
That's a great answer. And I think in my own story, I'd want to change that as well. I wish that my adopted parents, just like Jim's, didn't get involved. And I think that was kind of hurtful as well, painful.
Yeah.
Great answer.
He wanted their support, to help him. They did not want to have anything to do with it.
Right? They don't have the unconditional love you do. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Someone asked, Deborah asked, what is the most challenging part of your relationship vis-a-vis being in a committed relationship with an adoptee?
Just seeing him go through all those emotions, being hurt and being sad when they hurt him. That's the hard part, seeing him upset. I wish he didn't have to go through all this turmoil all the time. So that's hard to see, very hard to see, because I don't want him to be upset, obviously. Don't want him to be sad. And it hurts me. When he hurts, I hurt.
Yeah, I get that. And then we also have a question. Nicole would like to hear more about your journey of becoming a parent, or both of your journey in becoming a parent. What types of doubts and your initial concerns, especially Jim's, while you were pregnant, how did that come out from him, his concerns about being a parent?
I think in my situation, I wanted to give Elizabeth the complete opposite what I was giving as a child.
Yeah.
Because like in my story I told, I didn't really get unconditional love. I didn't get I love you. I didn't get a pat on the back. I mean, they didn't even tell me I was adopted. And it was like, I was never good enough. I was always put down. And when Tina was pregnant, that's one thing I always told myself. I'm gonna love on my daughter. I'm gonna give her everything that I didn't have. And I think I've done that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Even though she's 35 years old right now, and I'll still tell her I love her, give her a kiss goodnight. And it's just something that, what's that good old saying that you be that person that you wanted while you were growing up, or you didn't have. So that's what I try to be as a parent. I think most adoptees are like that though. We try to give our kids what we didn't get growing up. And I didn't want Elizabeth growing up not knowing who she was either. That's the reason I went to go search too. Even though I always ask her about that, and she really, it doesn't really seem to bother her.
Mm-mm.
She doesn't bother Elizabeth that I found who we are, our blood. It was just like, Dad, I think it's always been our family, because the family, Tina's family and our family are really close. And it's nothing but love. Love, love, love. It's a very close family. And I didn't really have too much of that growing up. So I wanted to give that to Elizabeth. So when I see Elizabeth so strong in relationships with her cousins, it makes me happy, because I didn't have that growing up. And I always try to, I'm a type of dad who never, she knows it too, I'll never no to Elizabeth. I never have.
He definitely turned that around.
I turned that around.
He broke that cycle of, you know, not telling your child you love them and tell them you're proud of them. And so he changed that. So he was always there to help with Elizabeth all the time. He was always there all the time. So he changed that. He definitely changed that cycle. He consciously made that change because, you know, you can just continue with that cycle easily. You have to change it mentally in your mind. You have to change that cycle. And he did.
Because you hear the good old cop-out excuse all the time. Well, it was different back then. Or, well, that's how I was raised. I goes, that's a cop-out that people use that saying, oh, that's how he raised, so that's how he's gonna treat his kids. No, that's what, in my mind, that's a bunch of bull. You have to change your aspect of life and how you love on people. And that's what I did when Elizabeth, well, when I found out that Tina was pregnant, I go, wow, okay. Right away I says, I'm gonna be the father that I'm gonna be the father that I wish I would have had. And I think I've been that type of father, and I'll be that till the Lord takes me home, whenever that is. But that's my opinion on that.
That's great. Do you think, I don't know, I mean, she's not here, but do you think that it was difficult for Elizabeth to witness Jim's journey of reunion, search and reunion?
She's a lot like me. So we were just there for him, supported him. I don't think it ever like made us like angry or anxious or, oh my gosh, you know, it's just, we were just there for him. That's just what we did. We were family. It was the three of us, you know, we're tight because it's just the three of us. And so she was just there for him. Whenever he needed a hug, she was there.
And then I'm still here. I'm scrolling a little bit. Okay. You said that the hardest part was watching him be so sad because of all the grief, and there wasn't anything you could do. What would you say is the hardest part about being married to an adoptee for you?
For me? I mean, just seeing him go through all this, you know, all the ups and downs of trying to find his family and then not finding them and then finding them and then going through all the ups and downs of the relationships. So for me, it was just seeing him upset. And then that made me upset because I would see him upset. But I was just there for him. I would just comfort him and hug him and tell him it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. And we've gotten through it. It's not over yet, but we're still going. But
so outside of search and reunion, do you notice that it's more difficult with Jim in other aspects of your relationship? Just between you and him, and with, of course, the caveat that you love him unconditionally.
I mean, I have to go back to when he used to drink. That's when it was hard. There was a few times where I had to say, goodbye. You need to figure this out. You know, you need to leave. There was a few times I had to do that. And that's when he was drinking, but he no longer drinks. You know, who knows? If he had kept drinking, things could definitely have been different. But he stopped drinking. And so that definitely helped with our relationship for sure.
So is the fact that he was not dealing with his issues that was the hang up of the relationship?
Probably. I mean, because he was drinking. I mean, he didn't drink every single day, but when he did, he just didn't know when to stop. It wasn't a daily thing. It was usually on the weekend, because he went to work. He was responsible and went to work. He had, a family to take care of. But on the weekends, that's when he would drink, and then it would get too far. Go too far. He didn't know when to stop. So that made it hard because he wasn't dealing, and he was probably just suppressing all his feelings of everything he went through in his whole life. I mean, there's lots of things to his story other than just being adopted.
Yeah. I haven't brought it up till now. It is part of something that Jim talks about, and you did give me the okay to go ahead and ask anything. So he was abused by his adoptive family. Do you find that he's been dealing with that better since the reunion, or has that kind of snowballed at all?
So are we talking about the sexual abuse or, yeah. Definitely when he told me, I was in shock because it was many years into our marriage before he told me that. I think, how many years were we married until you told me? That was a long, yeah. When he was like 52 years old, he told me that, so that's a long time. We've been married for 37 years, that he kept that secret. So I'm sure that secret was manifesting with everything that he did, the drinking and all that. So that was very shocking to me. That was hard for me to swallow, to know that he went through that when he was a young boy.
Okay. Sorry about that. That was. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you for sharing that. I know it's difficult, but sometimes the difficult things are some of the best things that other people need to hear.
Right.
So much love. But I do have one question. Okay, I have lots of questions, but we'll just stick with this one. What was the best thing that came out of reunion for you guys?
He's made a good relationship with his sister, his biological sister. They talk often. They understand each other a little bit because they both have the same mom. So they kind of understand, her dynamic. And his brother that has since passed away. On his dad's side of the family.
My condolences.
Thank you. His biological dad's side of the family, they've nothing but love. Nothing but love. It was a different situation on that side. Acceptance and love. When we went to go first meet everybody, they were so excited to meet Jim because his biological dad never had any kids, and they were always felt like, oh, he never had no kids, and there he is, there's his son, and he has a granddaughter. So they were very excited about that reunion.
Awesome answer. That's cool. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
If we want, we can just open up to general discussion. There's a spouse of an adoptee here. They've been married for 37 years. That's quite an accomplishment, even for non-adopted people. So please, let's open the room up and have a chat.
And thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Now, Jim, I know you're hiding in the background. Can we see you?
Yeah.
Can we put you on camera? Can we get a view?
Come here, husband.
See, I'd never tick Jim off because I know he could kick my butt. I'm only sure that I could only get one shot in and then I'd have to run like a Dickens.
Good.
Awesome.
That's a
Alright.
good picture.
Oh, look at him sitting out there outside relaxing.
Oh, it's hot, trust me. And right
Oh,
after this, I have to mow the lawn. So
oh no.
please, I'll take the empathy before I take the hit.
Groceries, I don't know, mow the lawn, buy groceries.
Not the same. Totally not the same. How's everybody doing?
Good,
Doing good.
there he is.
Great job. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, she
I
was,
think there's 3 marks.
is there? Yeah, she was nervous about doing the
I'm
interview.
Paula, by the way. I'm not Mark. I'm just hosting under Mark's name.
She was nervous about,
We'll,
told her, just be yourself, just speak the truth. And like, you know, she's always sees me telling my story, and I don't hold back. I just speak the truth. And that's what I told her to do too. Just speak the truth. Just tell her exactly what we've been through and all the ups and downs and the hurts. And we just keep on plugging, I'm still standing. I'm still strong. That's the reason why I have that tattooed on my leg, because this Adoptee journey is a trip, and it just keeps on. You get on the roller coaster. Hopefully you end up at the top, right? And not
right?
bottom. So we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Jim, do you think that it's being easier to tell your story as you're doing these interviews? Because I know you're really getting into it. I'm loving it. I get to hear and I hear like little tidbits change just a little bit, or new nuances come out in the stories. You think it's getting easier?
It's getting easier. But every time I tell myself, okay, don't get emotional. And something, but come on, Jim, be macho, man. Come on, hold on, Jim. You're a tough guy. Come on. And just something triggers my emotions, and then I just fall apart. I go, come on, Jim, you did it again. You start getting emotional, you start crying again. And that's really the only thing. But yeah, the more I tell my story, the more I heal. And I think the more I tell my story, I'm not gonna let the trauma and the hurt go to waste. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I said yesterday in my interview yesterday, because everybody wants to leave a legacy. Is it going to be a good one or a bad one? Well, I want people to think that Jim didn't hold back, and he spoke what hurt him, what hurts a man. And by me being honest, maybe other men have come to me and tell me about their hurts growing up. And some of it is emotional, some of it is abuse. But if I don't go out and tell my story and give the whole story about sexual abuse and
Right.
even, I mean, who is? So you have to make a purpose in life, right? As adoptees, we all have the same feelings and we all have the same hurts. But now, I thank the Lord that we have support groups. For the last 3 years, I've been in support groups. For 56 years, I didn't have nobody. That's why I held those secrets in 52 years.
Yeah, because I
And I was so ashamed of it. And I finally opened up to Tina and Elizabeth. I mean, Tina, my daughter, telling me in a car what happened to me as a kid. I mean, that's not kind of like a machismo thing to do, right? Especially when it was a man doing what he did to me, So it's kind of like, it's all for a reason. The good old saying, it's all for a reason. Well, yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is.
Now that I think about it, I think that I've seen Jim talking to a lot of you people, the adoptive groups has helped him a lot. I can see that. I could definitely see that. Having someone to talk to, knowing someone else has gone through or feels what I'm feeling, before he
Great
didn't have
answer.
anyone to talk to, that, I could only be there to support him and love him, but to understand his feelings, I could never understand them. So now that he has someone to talk to, I can see that difference in him now that I'm thinking about with the questions definitely can see that. I could
That's
definitely,
awesome.
usually sometimes after he gets off of one of these, he's exhausted.
Oh, it's definitely mentally draining because you
Work.
still have to deal with it.
And I see the exhaustion in his face. He's exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah, because I even mentioned yesterday, you know, I had a sparring day yesterday at the gym. And yeah, I get tired doing that, right? But telling my story for 90 minutes, I was so tired yesterday when I got out. Even when she got back and we went out to lunch, and I told her, man, I am so tired right now. My back was hurting. I had a big headache. I was just mentally just like, I just want to go to sleep. Just like, man, I feel like I went 100 rounds at the gym. I feel so beat up. And it's always when I tell my story, you know, and always when I tell my story, but then I get back up, you know, I get back up. Okay, today's a new day. Okay. Carry on with life, Jim. Carry on with life till the next trial comes, you know, but I'm prepared, right?
Yeah.
If I could beat this, I could beat anything. I mean,
Exactly.
you know? And if I don't stay strong, I feel like I'm letting down my adoptee community too, because
Oh,
you know-
that's a great statement.
you know, because I mean, they say, well, you went through all that and you're still strong. Yeah. I told you yesterday, because yeah, I'm a strong man, but I break. I'm not a super macho strong guy, but I break. And Tina's seen me break. I mean, cry like a baby. And that was because of anger, of stuff that's happened to me. I just fall apart. I mean, there's that one scene in, what is that one series? This is
Oh yeah.
This Is Us, when one of the scenes he goes into the lake and he just gets into the lake and he just screams. He goes, you know, his birth mother walks to him and says, okay, you know what to do. And he goes, I don't know how to get rid of this pain. He goes into the lake and just screams. That's why you'll see me at the beach. That's my therapy. A couple of times I'll go into the water and hopefully no one sees me. I'll scream. I go, I can't take it anymore. You know, and it's just like, oh, okay, Jim, you got that out. Now carry on. You know, here's another day. And my
And then
life.
Tina's shopping for shoes at the same
Yeah.
time because she needs her out too, right?
New pair of tennis shoes.
Got it. You didn't hear that, babe. You didn't hear that. But yeah, all the journey
I've done the
marks.
same thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have things that you want to say to other adoptees?
No matter how big the struggle is, you're gonna make it. And try not to hold everything in. Try to, well, easy for me to say, but you know, let it out. Talk to another adoptee, because that's the only one's gonna understand how you feel. And sometimes, you know, the good old saying, the Lord gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, maybe to do more listening than talking. Maybe people just want to tell your story as much as you can, tell your hurts as much as you can. Don't hold it in like I did. Because when I held it in, I had so much anger in my life. I mean, like I was telling Tina, when the sexual abuse happened from the ages of 15 to 18, hey, I had ideas how I was going to kill the person and how I was going to kill myself. That's why in the adoptee community, you know, it's 4 times higher the suicidal rate. And I know why, because I was growing up. I mean, how much anger and anxiety you have to have in your mind, your heart, that you actually want to kill somebody and kill yourself. And you have ways how you were going to do it. It's just like, I still think of it now, and it just like drives me crazy. I go, wow, I really do that, you know? And the gentleman that did all that to me, I was talking to Tina yesterday. He goes, I don't even know if he's alive anymore, you know? and no one knows who he is.
I don't even know.
I will never say who it was.
I don't even know.
It's between me, him, and God. I'm not God. And I've never said it. And I remember my birth mother always used to say, you know, you could go after him. I go, why? Why go after him?
What's the point?
Why? What's the point? I go to bring up the past. I got enough stuff that triggers my past. Well, it's kind of like make common sense most of the time, you know? But sometimes we just have to listen to that common sense and not try to make everything so difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because life can be easy,
You
but we
can.
tend to make it difficult.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly.
I say support. Support. They need support.
Mhm.
Be there.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you're not going to be able to fix it, but you can listen. Listen.
Mhm.
And like I said, I've never told him I know how you feel, because I don't.
Mhm.
No idea. I have no idea. All I can do is be there to love him and support him, and that's what I've done over the years.
I think from my perspective, and Jim, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that at some point there's a part of me that doesn't want the spouse to know what it feels like from the protective side.
Yes. Because, we all have our own issues, right? And
Right.
it's I don't want to bring any more, I don't want to, even though she says I've never have been, in a husband's role, you don't want to be a burden to your spouse or your
Right.
family. I don't want to my daughter see me break down and cry, and she has, but she just hugs me and tells me it's going to be okay, Dad. They shut up.
Cool.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
that's-
they're there. So that's how I am. I mean, and what does my daughter do? She hugs me. She says, "Dad, it's okay to cry, Dad. It's okay," and that feels good. That she'll say that. Wow, my daughter just hugged me and just says, "It's okay to cry, Dad. Just let it go." And a lot of it has to do with my past of the sexual abuse or the hurt of being an adoptee. And she always tells me, she hates it when I say machismo or macho. Dad, So I've learned that it's okay to break down in front of my daughter. I could break down in front of Tina, but it's like, it's hard to break down in front of your daughter because you always want your daughter to look at you as
Right.
my protector, right? The dad. But that's probably the hardest part with me was learning how to break down and not be so ashamed of my family seeing me cry, so.
Sounds like you've got a good support system. Michelle, you have a question or a comment?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Tina. It's so nice to meet you. Well, virtually. Hi. So I just want to tell you how much I adore Jim. He's one of my advocates. And he really is a biggest cheerleader for our community. And he talks about you so highly and how much love he has for you. And you are a big part of his healing journey, not just us. I want you to know that. But Jim, I want you to know, you mentioned how you need to stay strong for the adoptee community. It's okay to not be strong. Don't feel like you have to, because when you're not, we have you.
You gotta back up.
So don't have that mindset all the time where you have to be strong, because I'm not either. And when those days where I'm not strong, I have my adoptee community to uplift me. So don't put that pressure on you, okay?
Definitely don't put that pressure on you.
Make me cry, Michelle.
Oh, well, we love you so much. And Tina, I adore you. I hope to meet you in person. And I just loved watching and tuning in this whole time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I
You're
enjoyed.
welcome.
Bye.
Well, our hour's up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tina and Jim, so much. This has been wonderful. I love getting a perspective from a spouse. It's not something I would have ever thought of. So, Jim, thanks for bringing it up, and Amanda for volunteering us for doing it. And it's been great. Thank you, everybody who showed up today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
And Paula, thank you.
Bye. You're welcome. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
You also.
Oh, on.
Thank you.